Summer 1985. Los Angeles was gripped by terror unlike anything the city had ever seen. A killer was prowling through neighborhoods in the dead of night, slipping through unlocked windows and doors like a shadow. He had no type, no pattern, no predictable method. Young or old, rich or poor, male or female, anyone could be next. His name was Richard Ramirez. The media called him the Night Stalker. It started in June 1984 when 79-year-old Jenny Vinco was found murdered in her apartment in Glassell Park. The brutality was shocking, but then, silence. 9 months passed with no similar attacks. Then, in March 1985, the terror resumed with a vengeance. On March 17th, he shot 34-year-old Dale Okazaki in her home in Rosemead, leaving her roommate Maria Hernandez traumatized but alive. That same night, just minutes later, he pulled 30-year-old Tsai Leon Yu from her car and shot her dead. Over the next 5 months, the attacks escalated into a horrifying spree. He killed elderly couples in their beds, murdered a father in front of his sleeping son, assaulted women and children, leaving satanic symbols scrawled on walls in lipstick. Sometimes he'd demand victims swear their love to Satan before he killed them. By summer 1985, Southern California was paralyzed with fear. Hardware stores sold out of locks, deadbolts, and alarms. People who had lived their entire lives with windows open now barricaded themselves inside. Neighbors who'd never met before formed watch groups. Guns were placed under pillows. The randomness made it worse. He struck in different neighborhoods: Monterey Park, Burbank, Arcadia, Sun Valley, Glendale. There was no way to predict where he'd appear next. No way to know if you were safe. The only constant was the darkness. He always came at night. Detectives Gil Carrillo and Frank Salerno led the investigation, but they were chasing a ghost. Different police departments weren't sharing information effectively. The killer left few clues and seemed to vanish into the night. But slowly, evidence accumulated. Survivors provided descriptions: tall, thin, with rotting teeth and a distinctive gap-toothed smile. An orange Toyota station wagon was spotted, and crucially, fingerprints. He was getting careless. On August 24th and 25th, 1985, Ramirez committed what would be his final attacks, shooting Bill Carnes and assaulting his fiancée, Inez Erickson, in Mission Viejo. Erickson survived and gave police an incredibly detailed description. Then came the breakthrough. A fingerprint left on the stolen car matched a petty criminal in the system: Richard Ramirez, a 25-year-old drifter with a history of drug abuse and burglary. On August 30th, police released Ramirez's mugshot to every news outlet in California. His face was plastered on the front page of every newspaper, shown on every TV station. But Ramirez didn't know he'd been identified. He'd been in Arizona, and on August 31st, he returned to Los Angeles completely unaware that he was now the most wanted man in America. He walked up to a convenience store in East LA and saw his own face staring back at him from a newspaper rack. El Matador, the Spanish headline read, the killer. Panicked, he tried to run. He attempted to carjack a woman. She screamed. He tried to break into homes. Residents chased him with baseball bats and metal rods. Someone shouted, "It's the Night Stalker!" The entire neighborhood mobilized. A crowd of angry citizens chased him through the streets. He jumped fences, ran through yards, but there was nowhere to hide. Everyone knew his face. Finally, exhausted and surrounded, Ramirez was tackled and held down by ordinary citizens until police arrived. The man who had terrorized millions was brought down not by SWAT teams or FBI agents, but by the community itself, refusing to live in fear any longer. Ramirez showed no remorse. In court, he flashed satanic symbols, shouted "Hail Satan," and grinned at the cameras. He received multiple death sentences for 13 murders, 5 attempted murders, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. But he would never be executed. He spent 23 years on death row, where he married a magazine editor who believed in his innocence, despite overwhelming evidence. On June 7, 2013, at age 53, Richard Ramirez died of cancer in prison, The Night Stalker case changed California forever. It led to better communication between police departments, advances in forensic databases, and a cultural shift in how Americans thought about home security. But most importantly, it showed that evil, no matter how random or terrifying, could be stopped. Not just by authorities, but by ordinary people standing together.